Let's get started with talking about the trade-offs in AI. To develop, deploy, and maintain an AI system that's trustworthy, there's different trade-offs, right? So Olivia, do you want to talk about the trade-off between privacy and protecting our youth?
Yes, and that question is a perfect example of the constant tension that there is between the two different privacy and safety needs. Sometimes I think social media doesn't seem to be AI, but actually social media companies are inherently AI because of our algorithms, right? Those are language learning models. When we're looking at issues around predatory behavior, from sexual solicitation, from pedophilia, we really need transparency. And a platform that particularly cares about those issues might not want to encrypt their platform, might not want to encrypt their direct messages to allow for monitoring tools. A platform that is worried about reproductive rights privacy and any other privacy issue, LGBTQ issues, the list goes on and on, they're definitely going to lean into encryption, though I will say encryption is not the cure-all for privacy that a lot of people think it is, but that's another conversation. And so as a platform, you have to choose a lane, and this is something that Communia is really grappling with right now. Currently, we're rated 18 plus in the App Store. That wasn't necessarily a choice for us. Our policy was always 16 plus, with the thought that behind it that if young girls are experiencing Me Too issues or experiencing online violence on mainstream platforms, they should be able to come to our platform and find resources available to them. The app stores decided that we should not be allowed to be available to minors because we also allow women to talk about sex. We're still figuring out anyways which path we are going to commit to. Are we going to commit to full privacy to protect fully reproductive rights issues, or are we going to make different choices that would better protect minors? And where that line is, and in general, from a policy perspective, without the context, if we didn't live in the world that we live in, I would be anti-minors on social media. That's not necessarily the world that we're living in now. So there's this constant tension, and in an imperfect system, unfortunately, platforms, especially emerging platforms, are going to have to choose certain lanes.
There is such strong regulation in other areas around privacy. It's a tension. It's not like an assumed level of privacy around your own personal information like it is in health. Older minors have rights to privacy around pregnancy, around STD testing, right? So it's interesting that there's all these protections in place, and then the same kid goes over to this other space and there is no privacy, and she's sharing health information. The field of child psychiatry definitely does give guidance about the idea that children's online usage should be moderated by parents. And I think that's not necessarily out there though in the public sphere, because parents often, like in the series, weren't monitoring what that child was doing. They want to give him privacy. He wants to hole up in his room, and everyone thinks that's just normative for teenagers to hole themselves away and have their privacy, and they think that's the right way to parent. And then kids, of course, want that. They're also promoting. So you don't get to be intrusive in what I'm doing online. Is it listening on their conversations, or is it parenting or protection or guardianship? So there's this real tension there when the parents get involved. So that's where we have to empower parents to know that isn't intrusive, that's parenting in a digital world, right? And the kids also need to be aware that is appropriate for parents instead of pushing back and getting resentful, but it isn't there yet. Parents often don't even have any clue what's in there and almost don't want to know because it's a whole world that they're unfamiliar with, so they don't even ask questions. What are you doing online? What is that? They don't even want to know. And so it becomes easier to almost put your blinders on and believe that they're safe